Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing? Hello, traders around the world. Welcome to yet another edition of the Boss Forex channel. Don't forget to like, click, subscribe, and so on and so forth. The past week was rather eventful, but here we are again on another brand new week. We are left with a couple of hours just before the market opens, the OZ session, and we are right into it. But before we go there, let's look at our fundamentals. What do you see on our fundamentals? You can see that around 2 a.m. Later tonight, my 2 a.m. my time, the Bank of Japan, Ueda is going to be speaking, the governor for the Bank of Japan. So we're expecting a lot of volatility on the Japanese yen when we wake up in the London session, right? Mostly on the JPY pair. So we expect JPY pairs to be moving when we wake up, depending on what the governor would have said. But on the flip side of that, we're gonna have a bank holiday in the UK and another bank holiday in the US. So yeah, pretty much we're gonna have a very quiet a London session, which is gonna be very quiet, and the New York session is gonna be very quiet. So my advice would be for you maybe to trade JPY pairs in the morning, and then after that just stay away from the market. Maybe in the New York session we might see a bit of volatility, but since it's a bank holiday in the US, there won't be a lot of movement in the market. And then we jump on to Tuesday. There isn't really much there. There isn't much on the news, on the fundamentals. Only in the US session on Tuesday we're going to have the New York session, that is. We're going to have news there. So we're expecting a quiet session in the London session, which is like your 9 a.m.-ish up to until lunchtime or so. So yeah, we're gonna have a quiet, and then when the New York session opens, we're expecting a lot of volatility, right? And I would say, and then on Wednesday there's Oz CPI, so you're gonna see a lot of volatility on the Aussie pairs like your AUD NZD, AUD JPY, AUD USD, Euro and AUD, GBP AUD, and so on and so forth, right? And then yeah, pretty much. And then the European session, we have the CPI, preliminary CPI for Germany. So we're also expecting a bit of movement on the euro, right? That is on Wednesday, the 29th of May. Then we jump on to Thursday. So I think I would say the market would start moving nicely from Tuesday up until Friday. As you can see, we have the US GDP and unemployment claims as usual, which usually always comes at 2:30 on 2:30 my time, depending on where you are in the part of the world. Every Thursday we have unemployment claims, but this time they have added some preliminary GDP Q on Q, which is like quarter to quarter, like you know what I'm saying. So yeah, quarter on quarter, right? And then on Friday, we're gonna close it off with a bit of CPI on the Tokyo session, which is a Japanese session, CPI, and then we're gonna have late afternoon. We have Canadian GDP and PCE price index on the US dollar, right? So there isn't really much, but we're expecting a lot of nice setups this week, since it's like almost the end of the month. And yeah, that's about it. So before we jump onto the technicals, I just wanted us to touch base on our news. So as per the norm, we're gonna start with the USD GXY. This is how a USD GXY looks, or the US dollar index. This is basically what measures this is an index that measures the US dollar against other pairs, right? As you can see, the monthly, this is how our monthly looks. If you look at the monthly, you can see that in the previous month, which was April, right? Price went to tap into that monthly high, and then after that it rejected. The whole of May, the US dollar has been pretty much bearish, right? And then you can see if you jump onto the 4-hourly, so actually before the 4-hourly, we go to the weekly. So on the weekly, you can see after price went and touched on that imbalance there, there was a pullback, and then the previous week, which was last week, not this past week, the week before this one, price went and touched on that imbalance, on that previous weekly imbalance, and then pretty much started to reject, right? And then you go to the daily. This is what you see. This was just more of a price correction. Price dropped to this level, which you saw on the previous monthly, and then after that it rejected because of that previous support turned into a resistance, right? This is on the daily, right? And then if you go to the 4-hourly, this is what you see. After price dropped this much, for all we care, what we see is price pretty much was pretty much bearish on Friday, and then when the market opens, you can see there is that imbalance there. So what I expect the market to do would be this. The market which is supposed to come, tap here, and then pretty much maybe go that way, right? Because there is this kind of support here. But if price, you know how it is sometimes, price can just act crazy. So if price drops lower than this, like breaks this low, it will drop, then pull back, and then crash. Like this is what I'm expecting. It will, if it taps the previous low, we expect it to grab some liquidity here, then boom boom, then go up, right? There are two options. If it goes way below, it will drop, right? Then we expect price to pretty much come and tap on that, which will now be more like create a lower low of some sort, right? Create a lower low of some sort, right? Create a lower low, then we expect price to go that way, right? So as things stand, we expect the dollar to continue being bearish. But this past week was kind of weird because we saw some choppy movements and so on and so forth, right? And then if you go down to the hourly, you can see price. This is what the scenario looks like, right? This is what we expect. First touch, second touch, we might see price coming down here. Those are the two options. We might see price if it goes up, this is what's going to happen. Price will just oops, what is this now? Price will just do this, and then it will pull back, then go all the way up. Those are basically the two scenarios. But as a trader, you just have to do what the market is doing. These are the two options that we have. Like price will come, bounce, go up to that level, come back, then go all the way up. If it drops lower, it would have broken that support, then it will push up to retest and then go all the way down. So those are the two options that we have on the USDX. And then if you go to the GBP USD, there isn't much to talk about because the GU has just rather been very weird. It's acting all funny, and it's rather unpredictable. I would say that it isn't as easy to trade as we would expect it to be, right? As you can see, this is what has been happening, right? Price, don't worry about those are the things I used to analyze. This is what we saw last week. On the weekly, price has been all bullish because the dollar is weak, right? As you saw on the USDX, right? So price has been pretty much pushing all the way up on the weekly to touch on that previous last high. But this is the highest, but this is last but one, right? So we might see a bit of a rejection here. If we jump onto the daily, this is how the daily looks. The daily, from here we expect price to go and take out that high, previous high, which was touched on the 26th, created on the 26th of. This is more like your imbalance. So we expect this bullish candlestick. When the market opens, we expect price to pretty much push up to go and touch there. But before we go there, we just have to go to the 4-hourly and see what's happening there. So as you can see, there is this imbalance. This is why I say price has to pretty much go and tap there. From there, we might see price either going to take out that high or it will reject and come back down. So what we expect here is pretty much this: price to go all the way up, to go up to that level there, and then from there we expect a pullback. All right, then from there to continue going up. So like if price takes out this, you see there is this high which was created, and this one and this one. There's a bit of a resistance here, right? So we expect price to, when the market opens, we expect price to be more bullish, depending on what happens on the USDX, right? And remember, we have a clear direction on Tuesday, since on tomorrow, which is your Monday, price will just be, there will be a holiday in the UK and a holiday in the US. So we don't expect a lot of volatility